The wedding invitation arrived in a cream-colored envelope with elegant calligraphy. As Sarah opened it, her heart sank. It was from her ex-boyfriend, Michael, who was getting married to his longtime girlfriend, Emily. The wedding was in 2 weeks, and the thought of attending alone filled Sarah with dread. Sarah and Michael had dated for 4 years before they amicably parted ways. Their breakup had been mutual, but it didn't make attending his wedding any easier. The idea of showing up solo, surrounded by mutual friends and family who had always seen them as a couple, was daunting. Sarah sighed as she stared at the invitation, feeling a pang of loneliness. "Sarah, why the long face?" her best friend, Kate, asked as she walked into the room. Sarah handed her the invitation. "It's Michael's wedding. I'm not sure I can handle going alone." Kate glanced at the invitation and then back at Sarah. "You don't have to go alone, you know. Why not bring a date?" Sarah laughed bitterly. "And where am I supposed to find a date on such short notice?" Kate's eyes lit up with an idea. "What about hiring a professional? You know, like a date-for-hire service. Just someone to accompany you, so you don't have to face it alone." Sarah was skeptical. "You mean like a rent-a-date? Isn't that a bit extreme?" Kate shrugged. "Maybe. But it's an option. And it's not like you have to do this alone. Think about it." After much consideration and a bit of online research, Sarah decided to give the idea a try. She found a reputable escort service that offered professional companionship for events. After browsing through the profiles, she came across a man named James. He had great reviews, and his profile mentioned that he was experienced in accompanying clients to weddings and other social events. Sarah took a deep breath and booked James for the wedding. She felt a mix of anxiety and relief, hoping that having a date would make the event more bearable. The day of the wedding arrived, and Sarah nervously waited at her apartment for James to pick her up. When he arrived, she was pleasantly surprised. James was tall, with dark hair and striking blue eyes. He wore a tailored suit and had a charming smile that immediately put her at ease. "Hi, Sarah," he greeted warmly. "I'm James. It's a pleasure to meet you." Sarah smiled back, feeling a bit more confident. "Nice to meet you too, James. Thank you for coming with me." James nodded. "It's my pleasure. Let's make sure you have a good time today." As they drove to the wedding venue, James made small talk, asking about her interests and hobbies. His easygoing demeanor helped to calm her nerves, and by the time they arrived, Sarah felt more at ease. The wedding was held at a beautiful countryside estate, with lush gardens and elegant decorations. As Sarah and James entered the venue, she felt the eyes of the guests upon them. She took a deep breath and held James's arm a little tighter. They found their seats and waited for the ceremony to begin. Sarah couldn't help but steal glances at Michael, who looked genuinely happy. She felt a twinge of sadness but reminded herself that they had both moved on. Throughout the ceremony, James was attentive and supportive. He whispered light-hearted comments to make her smile and held her hand when she felt overwhelmed. His presence was comforting, and Sarah was grateful for his company. After the ceremony, they mingled with the other guests. James was charming and polite, making a great impression on everyone he met. Sarah found herself relaxing and enjoying the evening more than she had anticipated. During the reception, as they danced together, James leaned in and whispered, "You're doing great, Sarah. I'm here for you." Sarah smiled up at him, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you, James. I couldn't have done this without you." As the night progressed, Sarah and James continued to enjoy each other's company. They laughed, danced, and shared stories. Sarah realized that she hadn't felt this happy and carefree in a long time. James's presence was more than just a comfort, it was a reminder that she deserved to be happy and to enjoy life. Later in the evening, as they took a break from dancing, Michael approached them. He had a warm smile on his face and greeted Sarah with a hug. "Sarah, I'm so glad you could make it," Michael said sincerely. "It's great to see you." Sarah smiled, feeling a sense of closure. "Congratulations, Michael. I'm really happy for you and Emily." Michael nodded, then turned to James. "And you must be Sarah's date." "Nice to meet you, James." James shook Michael's hand. "Nice to meet you too, Michael. Congratulations on your big day." As Michael walked away, Sarah felt a sense of relief. She had faced her fears and come through the other side stronger. She turned to James and said, "Thank you for being here with me. It means a lot." James smiled, his eyes warm and understanding. "It's been a pleasure, Sarah. You're stronger than you think." As the night came to a close, James drove Sarah home. They shared a comfortable silence, both reflecting on the evening. When they arrived at her apartment, Sarah turned to James with a grateful smile. "I don't know how to thank you, James. You made this night so much easier for me," she said sincerely. James reached out and gently took her hand. "You're welcome, Sarah. I'm glad I could help. And if you ever need a friend, don't hesitate to reach out." Sarah felt a warmth in her heart. "I will. Thank you, James." They said their goodbyes, and as Sarah watched James drive away, she felt a sense of hope. The evening had been a turning point for her, a reminder that she was capable of facing her fears and finding happiness. Over the next few weeks, Sarah and James kept in touch. They met for coffee, went on hikes, and spent time getting to know each other better. What had started as a professional arrangement had blossomed into a genuine friendship. One sunny afternoon, as they walked along the beach, James turned to Sarah with a thoughtful expression. "Sarah, there's something I've been wanting to tell you," he began, his voice earnest. Sarah looked at him, curious. "What is it, James?" James took a deep breath. "I know we started off as just a professional arrangement, but I feel like we've become more than that. I've really enjoyed spending time with you, and I think there's something special between us." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. She had felt the same way but hadn't been sure how to express it. "I feel the same way, James. I've really enjoyed our time together too." James smiled, relief and happiness evident in his eyes. "Would you like to give us a chance to see where this could go?" Sarah nodded, her heart full of hope. "Yes, I'd like that very much." From that moment on, Sarah and James embarked on a new journey together. Their relationship grew stronger with each passing day, built on a foundation of trust, support, and genuine affection. They faced life's challenges together, always finding strength in each other. Months passed, and their love deepened. They traveled together, explored new places, and made countless memories. Sarah found herself happier than she had ever been, grateful for the twist of fate that had brought James into her life. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of their apartment, watching the sunset, James turned to Sarah with a serious expression. "Sarah, there's something important I want to ask you," he said, his voice steady. Sarah looked at him, her heart pounding. "What is it, James?" James reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Opening it, he revealed a beautiful diamond ring. "Sarah, from the moment I met you, I knew there was something special about you. You've brought so much joy and love into my life. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she looked at the man who had become her everything. "Yes, James. Yes, I will marry you." As James slipped the ring onto her finger, Sarah felt a sense of completeness. They embraced, their hearts full of love and promise. They knew that their journey together was just beginning, and they were ready to face whatever the future held, hand in hand. Their wedding was a beautiful and intimate affair, surrounded by close friends and family. As they exchanged vows, Sarah couldn't help but think back to the day she had received Michael's wedding invitation. It had been the catalyst for the most unexpected and wonderful turn of events in her life. With James by her side, Sarah felt like she had found her true partner, someone who understood and supported her in every way. Their love was a testament to the power of serendipity and the beauty of second chances. Years later, as they celebrated their anniversary, Sarah and James often reflected on their journey. They knew that their love story was one of fate and destiny, a tale of two hearts finding each other in the most unexpected of circumstances. And as they walked hand in hand along the beach, watching the sunset, they knew that their love would continue to grow and flourish, forever grateful for the day they had found each other.